Greetings hobbyists, this is Artisans of Wool, and this is the Anycubic Kobra S1. Let's take a look. So I've been rushing to get this video out because Anycubic have got a sale on for their 10-year anniversary, so I wanted to get this to you so you can make the most of it. It looks like this anniversary sale is going on till the 10th of September, so do get on there and have a look at what they've got. They've got a sale on a lot of their printers, including the Kobra S1, making it cheaper than I can find it anywhere else. But you also get free gifts and things like that when you purchase things or when you sign up to their newsletter. So it's worth having a look, and it's always worth getting free stuff. I guess a logical point to start with is the unboxing, and this is as easy as they claim. I was doing this while recording and it easily took under 15 minutes. Get the printer out of the box, which was probably actually the hardest part of it, and then pull off the plastic protective gear. At this point, get the instructions, which are under the top plate. These are really nice and clear and easy to read, though you don't really need them. Everything you need to remove is really clearly marked with giant red arrows in a style that's very reminiscent of another company that's got some very easy to set up 3D printers. But at no point will I be making comparisons to this other mysterious company. Okay, maybe I will. It's probably actually a good point to quickly mention biases, as you can see me pulling out the ACE unit, and that is that this printer was sent to me by Anycubic for free, but they in no way have asked me to hold back on my opinion of what's good, what's bad, and what's annoying about this printer, as you'll see. I should also mention that Anycubic is actually the first printer I ever got. I got the Anycubic Photon, which was one of the first affordable resin printers, so I do have a bit of a soft spot for Anycubic, which is probably fair to mention at this point as well. Once you've got the tools out from the inside and the other bits of foam, there's a couple of other screws that need undoing. Again, big red arrows point to where they are, and there is a slightly more hidden one at the back that allows you to release the printer bed. The printing surface itself is a textured PEI sheet, 250mm by 250mm, and it's guided into place by these two plastic nubs, which I really like. It's very clear and easy to put in place. You're not in any doubt whether it's as far in as it needs to be. Take off the last remaining packaging and put in the carbon filter, which is a nice touch, by the way. Now, if you're a crazy person and didn't buy the ACE unit, you can install the filament holder on the back. Now, I really like the way that they've made this so you only need one tool by putting the holes in it so that it's easy for you to just screw this in. I then hate the fact that they've put the filament holder on the back. No one wants to have to get to the back of a machine to put filament on it. Learn Anycubic and every other company out there. No one wants the filament holder on the back. But that's kind of irrelevant, as they clearly intend for you to buy the ACE unit, so put it on top and start installing the hub and connecting up all the Bowden tubes, as you can see me doing here. Now, you can connect up 2 ACE units to this as well to give you a total of 8 colours. I don't really need 8 colours in my life on a 3D printer, but if that's something you're interested in, it's something you definitely can do. At this point, you need to plug in the power for the main printer and plug in the power for the ACE. Now, why would you need power for the ACE? Other multi-filament units don't need that. And this is one of the things that's got me really hyped about this printer. This isn't just a multi-filament system, it also has a filament dryer within it. And that is essential for getting good results, especially with certain filament types. So that relegates the back holder to just being something to keep the Bowden tubes neat, though I'd still rather it was positioned on the side. Now, seeing as we've mentioned one of the negatives, I might as well mention the other one that might be a big one for some people, and that is that this feels very cheap. The sides are plastic, the top is plastic, and the door is plastic. It's all very plastic. But inside of that plastic shell, all of the frame is metal, with 3 lead screws controlling the height of the build plate. Basically, if it doesn't need to be metal, it isn't, and that saves massively on cost. And that leads me back to the Anycubic sale, and as I said, it's really cheap at the moment. It's normally cheap anyway, but £459, or whatever the equivalent in dollars, and you get £50 worth of free stuff, is an absolute steal. And when we put on the quite obvious thing this is designed to compete with, which is the Bamboo X1 Carbon, it's half the price. And the X1 Carbon doesn't even have a heated multi-filament chamber, which is why the ACE having that as part of the Kobra S1 combo was such a surprise to me. And let's be clear, this is a really nice looking machine. So unless you're worried about the way it feels when you hug it, and you are actually going to be hugging it fairly often, I'll come back to that later, I really don't think this is a concern, but if it is, this isn't the printer for you. Okay, let's get on with some printing. So I started with the standard Benchy that was included on the files as part of the 3D printer. There are actually 3 versions of this of various different speeds and qualities. Now, to say the first print of this was a bit of a disaster would be an understatement. It was pretty problematic and it came out looking a total mess. I had a bit of a look round and it was quite easy to find out why. One of the spools that had been supplied by Anycubic actually had a twist in it. It was constantly having to try and pull or not having enough filament being put into the hot end, which seems to have led to some problems, which was a bit disappointing in terms of the filament for Anycubic. I should say none of the other filaments showed this issue and this one only had one twist in it, but that's still a 25% hit ratio of not particularly well spooled filament. So do hit me up in the comments section if you've got similar problems with this, or maybe you've been printing with Anycubic filament for a long time and never had this problem. I'd quite like to know how rare this is as an issue. Anyway, here's Disaster Benchy, just so you can see it, but I did another one just to be sure that there wasn't going to be any issues with the filament again, and it came out really nicely. There are some minimal layer lines, but I'll show that off a bit more with some other prints, and the front prow came out very nicely, showing good directional change and cooling. Top surfaces were good as well, so all in all, a pretty good Benchy. Next, I thought I'd try out a bit of a precision test. It's just a cube that's got various edges of different lengths, so we can measure them and see how exact the printer is. You can see I'm using Anycubic's own software, which is basically Orca from what I can tell, but linking to their store. A lot of companies are doing this. Again, I don't like it, but everyone seems to be doing it. And there's a load of standard presets that Anycubic have put in place for you to be able to use. Now you can see here an excellent print quality on the sides. It looks fantastic. The top surface, however, is a little bit pockmarked, and that's where I changed one of the settings to have ironing at the top. So perhaps the defaults are a little bit either high in temperature on the ironing, or there needs to be slightly more layers on the top surfaces. If we come to the precision, the 20mm side is really precise, so that's great. The 10mm side, again, equally good, really precise, only 0.05mm out. And the 5mm, again, which is the hardest one to get right, it's more rapid changes, pretty accurate. Then on the 50mm height check, which is checking the layer line consistency on the Z height, again, a really good result, very little error there. I'm perfectly happy with that. Next, I want to solve the standard issue which you have with multi-filament printers, which is dealing with the poop which comes out the back. So I went onto their maker online and found something that would do the job. Unfortunately, it wasn't quite the right size, but nothing that a quick tweak in Blender couldn't fix, and again set that printing. Now, like the cube, this has a lot of flat surfaces to it, as well as needing to fit in a precise place, so precision is important. Similar to the cube, got a really nice surface here, and the iconography on the front as well as the text came out really clear and ready to go. And when put in place, it fits exactly where it needs to, so no problem there, and poop problem solved. Next on the list was a pretty important test, and I found this little ghost as a good example. I wanted to do something multicoloured, and this said that it was going to have a print time of about an hour and a half. Now, black and white being extreme colours, especially using white, was quite a good test for this because I wanted to see if there was any bleeding between colour changes. And this can be a problem. I've seen this on a number of printers. So we've got the all white layers printing first, but once it gets to the changeovers between the white and black, if we see a colour variation and the white becoming a bit more grey, we're going to know there's either some issues with the software and the purging time, or just some issues with the nozzle and the way it does the swap and it contains some of the black material still inside as residue. So this is the swap over process, and it returns back to the poop chute to get rid of all of the excess that it's trying to extrude out. And the swap over in this does take a little bit longer than I've experienced in some other printers. I would say it probably took about 2 minutes in total. Now that's far from a game-changing problem, but something I wanted to note. What was a little bit frustrating about it is that all of these predicted print times, including when it shows it on the screen itself, don't include these purges. So for example, when it actually said it was going to take about 18 minutes to finish the print, when I started timing it actually took about 37 minutes and 50 seconds. And that's quite a big difference to not know about. And on the software when it said this was going to take a total of about an hour and a half, it actually took about 2 hours and 30 minutes. And I don't like that the software doesn't show the changeover time. I think that's something important that should be included and updated in the software. Now, to briefly show you what I mean about this colour contamination, we've got all of the leftover poop here from this print. And you can see how this transitions from black through to grey and then white to get rid of that contaminated material. And if we have a look at the print, you can see no sign of colour contamination at all, which is very easy to happen from black to white. It's about as extreme an example as you can get, which is really good for this printer. It may take a little bit longer for the changeover, but you're going to definitely get that colour separation that you want. Okay, so niggles. The biggest one for me is that Anycubic's presets aren't great. The first time I printed the cube, it didn't print. It got halfway through and then came off, and I needed to add a brim, and the preset was set to auto, and it didn't create a brim. Now bear in mind, this is Anycubic's own software, with its own presets, with its own printer, and its own filament. It should be able to do the job first time. I shouldn't have to change anything, and while that's not a difficulty for someone who's used the 3D printer before, for a beginner that could be a concern. And similarly, and this is me being very pedantic, if you're designing a printer and a filament system to go together, why would you put the power buttons on different sides? If you want to turn the printer off quickly, you literally need to hug it. I did say I would talk about hugging the printer. There, Kobra S1. You've worked hard today. And then someone decided to put the power rocker switches so that for one you have to press up to turn it on, and the other one you have to press down to turn it on. Who comes up with this? Anyway, that was possibly a disturbing insight into the minor things that annoy me. But it's really worth saying that the Kobra S1 combo is an amazing printer. I can't believe that you can get this much printer for this cheaper price. It is absolutely crazy. There are some things that are frustrating about it, but all of them are software related, and I really hope that Anycubic looks at those software issues and fixes them. They're not major, they're just things that for the beginner could be a problem. Anyway, I thought I'd just leave you with this sci-fi Oni mask that I printed, which was a lot of fun. Just another thing that will show you the print quality that you can get from the Anycubic Kobra S1. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching this video. There are links in the description that you could use to help support the channel, including one to the Patreon, or alternatively you could just give this video a like. I hope to see you in the next one, and have a great day.